Alright, hey, welcome to the Sloppy Modeler. Welcome to the channel. And we have just completed the 1/420th scale AMT Defiant and all of its challenges that went with that. And I needed something of a palate cleanser, if you will. And I was in my local hobby shop about 8 or 10 months ago, and I found this 150th scale. This is the Fujimi, F-U-J-I-M-I, kit number 910062, Tokyo Water Bus, the Himiko boat ship, 1 to 150 scale. Apparently there's one on eBay for 30 bucks. But this is looks like it's kind of a water taxi, and it's got a pretty elaborate enclosed hull with all of this glass and all of the steel, some antennas that I can see, and the clevises here, I think they're called, for tying it down. It's in Japanese as far as all of the writing goes. There is just a little bit of glue and paint are not included, illustrations not to scale, may contain small parts and sharp edges. Recommended for experienced modelers age 15 and over. So this is the kit that we're going to do next. It should be fairly simple. I'm suspecting it's just a hull and the glass, and then some of these parts I can see that are multiple parts. I don't think it's a one-part hull, and some nice railing. I think this is a painted artwork. It's not a photograph, but I saw it. I thought, well, that looks pretty cool. And as a matter of fact, if you were a kit basher of any imagination, this would make a great foundation to build a starship on it, just because of its look. But anyway, we're going to open it up and see what's on the inside. Like I said, I'm not happy with that. But I guess that's what we'll deal with there. So I was hoping it was clear, but now that I see this, it's actually this dark blue here. So we'll live with it. But I can see that I'm going to have to tape off all of these little spots along here. Tape off all of these areas, all the windows, and paint them. So fortunately, it's very defined on the indents. So I guess I'm okay with that. We'll work through it. That's the upper hull. Looks like there's an interesting base right there for it. Oh, yeah, there is. How about that? On the side of this, it's got this, I assume it's a Shinto Temple, a pagoda, and then some of the pieces, but I had no idea that was going to be in there, but that is very cool. We'll build that at the same time. Very nice. I've never built one of these Fujimi models. Very nice moldings. Detail is absolutely superb. No flash on this that I can see. And that's going to be very interesting to take a look at that. And I'm guessing that that's what this is that that's the foundation for this little piece there. Here are your antennas as we're meeting the parts here. Antennas, railings, looks like some tanks, and then here's all those clevises for tying the boat down. Those are really tiny. That's going to be a tweezer experience, no question about it. Here is the rest of the inner dome pieces that are going to fit inside of this thing. So you've got the center cockpit and all the rest, little tiny pieces. Might make it easier to paint and spray. We'll see. I'm really excited about trying out my AK metals, extreme metals on this, to see what kind of paint we can get on that. So that there's all of your green glass that goes into that. And then here is the bottom of the hull. That's about as simple as you can get. Oh, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Again, many more little tiny parts here, and the bottom of the hull. And it does have all of your little tiny holes right in here for doing for making those pieces there. So that, or attaching the pieces, I'm sorry, that is very cool. Decals are very minimal. They look like they're water slide, which is nice, printed in Japan. And it's got the Himiko here. I can see these red pieces there. And it looks like there's about 6 decals total that are going to go onto this. Again, I'm looking at these little tiny hatch parts that must open and close the hatches, so they are very small. Decals look really nice. They provided, I think, matter of fact I know, they have provided a mask kit to mask this off. I couldn't be happier with that, quite honestly. Hopefully they'll fit. Looks like it's just made out of masking tape, and I'm okay with that. It's got a nice guide here, all numbered, and that could be an absolute kit saver here for this particular piece. But that is super nice to have masking included. Maybe you've got some pretty good builders that you've had there for a long time. And then this is the instructions. There is English sub-instructions here, so the main ones are in Japanese, but read the manual, make sure the kit is complete with all the parts. Here's your parts list with the trees, so we've got all of that. Markings and masking, they're already jumping to that, so this is again showing you the masking for all of those in small pieces. Like for instance, you've got this little tiny dome here, and you've got these 6 pie wedges that'll go onto that. So yeah, very, very cool. I think I will scan these though, just to make sure that I've got an extra copy of them. This shows all those clevises again that go all the way around there. And then some tanks in the back and a bulkhead in the back. It looks like that there's one there. So that is step 1. Step 1 and 2. Step 3 is to glue all of the domes and the hatches in place. Step 4, some of the antennae go on. Much more of the little tiny greeblies throughout, and then step 6, much smaller. I'm not sure what that number 5 is. Oh, it looks like wow. So it looks like a little tiny hatch with, again, all those little tiny parts. This could be a challenge for my mitts and my aging dexterity there. I did see these 2. I would say that they're like transmission antennas. They're pretty solid, or pretty solid radar antennas maybe. But all of that goes on, and then basically the hull, upper hull down onto the lower hull. And then it gives you, for the temple, it gives you the 2 trees, and I'm not sure what this is. There's no English for that, so we'll skip it. But shows how these go together. Again, these parts are absolutely awesome in here. Again, there are 3 different structures, and this has got the bells in the one structure here. I think of the small, or the largest one on the side of that must have bells in there that you can see. And then of course that'll have to be painted. So I'm actually pretty thrilled. This looks very cool. I really wish that was clear, but it's translucent green, and we will accomplish what we can. Very excited about the mask kit. That will save a significant amount of time and energy, hopefully. And then, like I said, once we get this in place, I definitely want to try those new AK Extreme metals. And again, from the photo here, this is really nice. I have a project that needs this color, this dark gray underneath here, and this is kind of a gray metallic. And I have a color that I have found, and I haven't had a chance to use it or try it and run it through a spray brush, but this is American Decor Matte Metallics. It's a flat metallic paint, and I think I can thin that down and run it through an airbrush, and I think that'll give me a really nice flat finish. It needs to be stirred up, of course, but it definitely has some pigment suspended in its thinner, acrylic thinner, and this color is called just carbon, I believe. Yeah, just carbon. And it's a matte metallic carbon, flat metallic paint. Like I said, I'll thin it down and spray it, and we'll see if it matches that or not. So anyway, that is the project here for the next little bit. I'm hoping it won't take me more than about a couple of weeks to do this, but we'll try to do it all in one video, and we'll get this stuff taped and glued and sprayed, and we'll see how it comes together. So again, the Fujimi Himiko, and we'll go from there. All right, we'll be back. Thanks. Okay, so work is beginning on the Tokyo Water Bus, and that's what I'm going to refer to it from now on, because I can't read the Japanese. But the Tokyo Water Bus, and in a fit of hysteria, maybe sometimes I'll call it Himiko, continues. So I have washed all of the parts in soapy hot water, and now I am gluing in all of the pieces here, all of the glass, to get one piece of glass throughout. And I'm using my fine line applicator with microcrystal clear in it, and that gives me a really nice bead that goes on that recessed area there without putting too much glue on it. And then once this is been removed from the parts and sanded, slide it in, and then just a little bit of a work with the just a little bit of work with a little bit of a wet Q-tip, and we are off and running. So any glue that you see here on this is going to show up under that silver paint like a blotch of just ugly. I am going to tape this off using their supplied mask. Thank you so much. Once the supplied mask are on, I'm going to prime this screen with a black gloss primer. Styrolens makes that. Stynylrez makes that, rather. A black gloss primer, not just a black primer. And then once that glass primer is on, put the silver coat over that. But there's a whole bunch of little tiny greeblies that I'm going to just go ahead and glue to this, and then tape it off and paint it at that level, because I just think it's a better process. So the gluing, removing these parts, is going really well. The moldings on this part are superb. There's just absolutely teeny tiny detail that looks just great. For instance, you can see here in the photo that this door, these hatches are going to have a hinge on the top, one glass window in the middle of it, a couple of pulls, and then a pull here, because I think that hatch lifts up like a gull wing door, kinda, if you will. But all of that is shown in the molded detail here of the part. So again, very much impressed with the molding of the part. I can't speak to the engineering of this yet, but for what I've seen so far, I think it's really a highly superior kit, especially coming off of the most recent AMT kit, which was, how shall we say, unkind. So again, just using this little applicator here. None of this is structural. I'm not trying to hold something up or hold two pieces together. Literally, it's just affixing this these parts glass to glass and piece to piece. And you can see right there just the tiniest smidgen of glue is left there, outstanding. So I think once these go on, oh, now see, that's upside down. Something to keep in mind, that that's omnidirectional. And there is a window at the top on both sides, so I had that one turned around a little bit. And then because this is microcrystal clear, it's water based, if you get something on there, you can simply rub it away with a little bit of water and you're back in business right there. So I'm going to continue gluing on this, and we'll try to get all the parts glued on. Then it'll be masking for all of the windows, and then primer. So I'll be back with you after a bit. Thanks. Okay, back with the Tokyo Motor Bus. Water bus, not motor bus, water bus, although I'm sure it's got a motor in it. And real quickly here, this is that matte metallic finish through a spray brush. And I really like the look. It's kind of silverish, but I think that from a hull color, that's going to turn out really, really dynamite. I think that looks great. So that is ready for all of its tiny. There's a bunch of tiny little parts that go onto that, things such like that. That's not the right one, but there's a bunch of tiny little parts that go onto that. Those need to be painted a silver or steel color. I think steel is probably the best choice there, and then glued to that, and then that is pretty well done. From the top of the ship, I have started with the masking process, and this is pretty straightforward. It just takes time, and I haven't even gotten to like these little tiny ones right here and right there. Those each take 6 little pie wedges each. Masking all of this, there's just this door, there's just a lot of masking, and it's provided. It's going on quite well. It is masking tape, so it's not necessarily vinyl, which I would have preferred, but we'll make the most of it. And I think it's going to be okay. I'm just working through it. I think we're going to be all right. And then once this is masked, this also has a whole bunch of tiny little pieces that go onto it. I think you can see here in the directions, B17, B8, B23, B25, B1, all of these little tiny pieces go onto that, and especially here, this arc, which I believe is right across here, you can maybe see the holes right here. That gets a camera, but these all get like rungs for climbing up to the top on both sides, and those are very small. And I want to get those glued in. They'll take the silver paint, no problem. I might have to hand paint underneath them once they're glued in, but I'm not really necessarily super worried about that. But so we're continuing with the masking on that, and once the masking is done, then we'll go in. I'm still conflicted with what color to paint this. I know that I don't want a polished aluminum or polished chrome because I don't think that's right. I might look at this Tamiya lacquer silver and do a little test bed on that to see how that turns out. But regardless, this is not shiny chrome on this photo. It's just not. It's you know, almost a matte silver, if you will, just from this painting. And I have pulled down a lot of the photos of it on the online. There's a ton of photos, and there's some video footage on YouTube of this in action, and it is a cool tourist boat, especially the interior. And I'm sad that they didn't provide an interior, but you know, you wouldn't be able to see it under that green glass anyways, or blue-green glass that's there. But the other thing that I am looking at, this has a headlight, a horn, a navigation light on this side, and there's a navigation light on the other side. And I shouldn't, but I'm considering lighting. The problem is that those lights are super tiny. Those orifices are super tiny. So like if I find the part here, yeah, that's the horn, but the headlamp, it doesn't even have anywhere that you could put, like here's the two cameras, and it just doesn't have anywhere that you could put a light inside of it for that piece there and some of the pieces. So I am going to forego lighting this, although that would be very cool. It's just not going to happen with the fact that you've got no room inside of this 1/150th scale ship. But we're continuing on. So the next step, or continued step, finish taping this off, get all of these little pieces attached to this. The rest paint silver and attach to the holes that are here on the decking. And then once that's done, we can go from there. There are some pretty neat photos of the back of this online that I took a look at. This is a white railing, and then these tanks here are also white that will go onto there. So we'll get those painted up with a nice brilliant white. They're super white on the screen. So we'll get those painted up, and then there are like a couple of the life-saving buoys, the little orange round ones, you know, we've seen them all. It's ubiquitous with sailing, that are on the back of that, and I don't have any in the kit. However, I might fabricate something, so or find something that might work for that. So we'll have to see. They're painted up orange, and it might add a little bit of color to that. Well, the other thing that I also did was to I went ahead and glued in this back bulkhead, and the back bulkhead gets the same thing. It gets taped off and then sprayed silver back there. So that is all going to be in the works at the same time. All right, let me do some more work, and when we come back, we'll have this taped off. Okay, progress on the Tokyo water taxi, the Himiko. We have about 95% of this taped off. Very happy with the majority of it. These little tiny ones right here are just that. They're little tiny ones right there. These are not so bad. A little tiny one there and there. These are not so bad. But a challenge with getting that done as a mask is that you run an airbrush across that and you're going to lose it. So one solution to that is, prior to painting, just this X22 clear, grab a little tiny brush and grab your model and just go over that to seal in those edges. And this way they'll be sealed as one, kind of as one piece now that you've got that seal on there. Just that simple. Any of the little tiny ones, I would put a little coat of this at the edges. You're not going to hurt your model. It's not going to show up underneath that. It's not going to show up underneath the clear, or the silver, and you might just save yourself some real grief there. But again, just going over the edge and sealing that in and letting it dry before you do any painting on that. And as a matter of fact, this is because this is masking tape and not a vinyl, I have some real concerns that if I spray this with a black primer, gloss primer from Stynylrez, I have concerns that that's going to bleed and funnel under here, because there's a few little tiny nicks. So what I intend to do is I'm going to take a probably, that's flat clear lacquer, both. I might take it's a flat clear lacquer as a sealer and go over, because this is a flat or a matte finish, go over this entire model with my airbrush now with a flat clear lacquer. And what that'll do that'll seal in that tape all the way across here and not impact the finish, except, you know, that it's flat anyways. And then I'm going to spray my black high gloss base coat lacquer, the Stynylrez primer, and then come back over it with the silver. So that is kind of my thought. I do have to tape off the back of these yet. That's gonna be another night. It's getting a little late, but very pleased with that. Now, something that's on this model, and I talked about it just a couple minutes ago, is here's actually your red and green lights that would be for navigation lights. And now that I see that where that's at, my little brain is going, well, that might not be possible to put in a red and green light. But what would be really, really challenging is to put those lights in and not have it impact the rest of this, green. So, that being said, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill out where these would go. Drill those out. It's a little circular peg. Drill that out and get rid of it. Then paint my primers and my other paints, the silvers and all that stuff. Then insert little 0402 SMDs where those are, and that's going to be enough to make that, I think, pop, make that stand out. Now, so there's a headlight that would go here, which I'll do with a big bright white light, and then those two lights there. And on this, I haven't seen any other lighting on this at all. There's a couple of cameras and so forth. However, you know, not being able to keep to myself, I think what I'm going to do is, drill out two little spots, one here and one on this side, and put red and green station keeping lights there. If I'm going to light it, I might as well have at least a reason to do it. So that is the process that we're going to go through. So the next is to drill those pieces, then do the flat coat across this glass, just to get a nice finish to start with, then primer coat, then the silver. But before we do that, we've got to put in all the little greeblies. I want those in before I do anything else, because they will paint nice and come up nice. So that is the Fujimi Tokyo Water Taxi. Very excited, and the masking went pretty good. I would have preferred, and Lou, if you ever watch this, this would be a great kit to get and then do vinyl cuts on it, because the tape has got its limitations as opposed to what you could do with vinyl on this. It would be a little easier to tape this off and on. All right, we'll be back. Thanks. Okay, back with you on the Tokyo Water Bus, and I am pretty excited about progress, and we've made a lot so far. Also, I've decided to go from just a little standalone kit to a little tiny water diorama. I had so much fun on the Victory Hawk trying that water out that I want to try to duplicate it again. So let's catch you up on what all this is at the moment, and then we will come back to what the next steps are. So first of all, to power this, I am trying something new. This is a 3.7 amp or 3.7 volt 1800 milliamp lithium ion battery. It's probably lithium polymer, lithium ion, with a little charger slash pass-through on this. And so what and it's USB-C, and you can find them on Amazon pretty easily. But that is a cool little chip you can plug it in and it charges, and then you can unplug it and you can just run it as it goes, right? This is kind of set up the way we were running it. But I'm going to power light this because I've got a little bit of lighting we're going to put into this. So first of all, I've already got 2 of the lights in. Here's one for the starboard side, and then the other starboard side light is in that one. And I think I can light that with my little tiny, let's grab this one. I can light that with my little tiny watch battery. I was hoping that I could run that 3.7 volt battery direct to these little tiny LEDs, and you can't. You'll burn them out. So that's just kind of reality there. It sucks, but it would be nice not to have to resistor them, but we do have to resistor them. So there is the starboard lighting for that. And I'm going to put a flasher circuit in that, I think. I don't know if that flasher circuit will work off of 3.7 volt. So just kind of experimenting with the different pieces there. But I think that looks awesome. I'm super thrilled with that, as a matter of fact. So that's one starboard side. The other one I put back here. I'll have a red one here and another red one there. And then I'm going to put 2 little tiny white SMDs here in the front because I feel something like this should have headlights if you're going to drive it around at night. Let's talk about so that is the lighting scheme part way. The other part of the lighting scheme, this is the bottom of the hull, and this 5.7, or I'm sorry, this 3.7 will light up, I'm amazed that it does, will light up this 5 volt cob lighting. And if I can get my stumble fingers here. So let's go here. And of course this will be hardwired at some point, but I wanted to put this in and hope for the best. Oh, maybe I'll just go here to the ground and yeah. So that actually is bright enough. It's not super bright. And then I'm going to put this over it as a diffuser, and then this fits over the top of that, and you can see just that nice green light coming through in that one peeled off mask that I've got. I think you can see that there. I'm super stoked about that. So we've got 2 strips of the this 5 volt cob lighting. This is just warm white. It's not a cool white, it's a warm white. And then what I can do is I can bring in the battery, from underneath here, and bring in the wire and plug into here, and then I can run my Skytron flasher circuit, which is a strobe for navigation station keeping lights. I can run that off of the end of this, and I can tie those into it. And I can also tie in, like up here, I'll tie in the 2 headlights, and then tie in the switch, and all of it can be run into one wire into the bottom of that. Now, so that's the lighting scheme that we're trying to pull together. The paint on this turned out really super, super nice. Again, the masking kit is provided by Fujimi, or Fujimi, or however you pronounce Fujimi, I think. This was the masking for it, and this was the result. This is all still masked. I'm going to leave it masked. But what I did is, once I had it masked, you saw me using the X22 clear on some of the little tiny ones to keep them from peeling up. Then I took it into the paint booth and I sprayed it with just a straight matte clear over the tape over that paint. And even prior to that, I sprayed all that glass with the Duplicolor adhesion promoter. You've seen Boyd use it. I've got the idea from him. He's the paint guru. Adhesion promoter first, and I didn't want it on the glass, so make sure it's all taped off. I didn't want it on the glass pieces. Adhesion promoter, then the clear, then a coat of AK model stainless steel over this whole thing, just one coat, and then a coat of matte finish from Testors Matte Finish. And that gave me the look you're currently looking at. This is fairly protected right now. It's not picking up oils or anything else. It might be, but it's not showing. I'm going to start wearing gloves before I do the rest of this. And then we've got a few more pieces to put on and go from there. But, so what is going to happen next is this is a little tray that I found at the home store. And it's got a lovely pearl finish on the edges there. That's really kind of nice. And I'm thinking that's just a plastic. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just a plastic. It's not even a ceramic or anything. Yeah, it's just a plastic. So I can drill through that in the back to bring in my little charger there that I'm going to need to bring in. And but I may not have to do that, and I'll tell you why. I might just put this in here. So here is a piece of pretty thick 1 mil styrene. And what's going to happen here is I'm going to put that in here on 4 risers. So I'm going to get probably a 1/2 inch riser that's going to keep this up off there, so it'll look something like that, if you will, with a little bit of this showing. And that will be the foundation for the water diorama. So that would fit in like that, although raised up. And then what we'll do is we'll use, we'll paint this a deep blue, an ocean blue as a base, leave this white, and then I'll use like white glue and paper towels and create a bit of a ocean wave system. You saw how I did that on the Victory Hawk. And this is not super crazy on the white water. This has got some. And then we'll do some of that. And then this will actually fit into the system. This will fit in just like so. And I think that's going to be just awesome. We'll do a little bit of white water off the back and maybe a little bit of wake off the front. And then this will sit in just like that. And I think that's going to look fantastic in there, especially being able to light that up. Now, let's talk about what I used to get those lights in there. So this is a little tiny 30 thousandths drill bit. I mean, it's you can see it is tiny, and I was able to drill down through that area there and get us enough of a hole that we can feed this wire in. And again, here's like my red LEDs, and they're so tiny that they should slide right down into there and go. And then what I'll do is I'll put a little dome over it with my Stynylres at some point here quickly. But so that is the lighting scheme, and I'll have a two little white ones up here as well. I really like the color of that pearl against that silver. I think that looks good. And then once we get the lights put in, get that up on the riser, we'll go to work on the on the water diorama. So yeah, very cool, very excited about this. I'm not going to detape it yet. No reason to get crazy with that. And then I see that again looks just dynamite with that green, and I'm hoping that that'll really come through, especially like up here in the front and other spots with the look that I was hoping for. So that's the water taxi. I did start painting on the Shinto Temple, and that's got more work to do, and that is more complicated than you think it is, than I thought it was. That's kind of nuts looking at that. So here is the photo of that temple, and it's got brickwork, it's got some gray foundations, it's got some slate tile roofs, and then all of that painting of white and red in the brickwork and painting it. So that's actually more complicated and time consuming than I thought, but we'll keep that in the works. Finally, here is the tree left that I've got with some of the parts to put on. You can see how tiny you can see how tiny those are. But these were painted with, again, that stainless steel from AK Models. What a great paint. I've got the antenna booms to put, the antennas and then the booms to put on, and then a couple little pieces there, but those go on to the lower hull, and then they'll have to be retouched up, because even though I painted them on the tree, when you clip them off at this edge, that's got a gray color, so I'll glue it in and then paint over the top with stainless steel with a brush, and you'll never be able to tell. As a matter of fact, that's what we've got accomplished here with these two here already, and they're so tiny that I don't even know if you would ever see them right there at the thumbnail. But those go all the way around. Also have to paint the gas tanks, the railing, and just more paint work to do here as we make progress on this. So it's turning into a little bigger project than what I anticipated at first, but I'm having so much fun with it, and this silver turned out so nice, or this stainless steel turned out so nice, that I think I'm pretty excited about it. You know, so for instance, that's not far off from the color that we've got here. I think this probably looks, and this is a painting, right? This looks a little bit aluminum. This looks a little more, you know, flat. But I like it. I think we're on target with that. So, all right, we will be back with more updates as they come along. But I hope you're enjoying the water taxi, and we will go from here. See you in a bit. All right, welcome back to the Tokyo Water Bus. And we're going to break this down for you in a second here. But let's talk about where we're at the moment, and then what the next steps are. Right now, this is just cobbled together at the moment, but this is a little, just a little bathroom soap tray or miscellaneous tray where you put soaps you don't want people to use in your house. And I'm going to use this as the backdrop for my water diorama, or the base. Now I didn't flip that over because I like this gray color here, or warm beige, whatever it is. And then I love this silver color here. It's actually probably just a beige pearl. So I needed hollow space in between, and when I've got it, and I'll show you that in a second. But on that end, you've got one switch, and the switch, let's go ahead and fire it up. And this is running off of a 3.7 volt 1500 or 1800 milliamp battery in there, and we'll show you that in a minute too. But so what we've got is two headlights up front, your two nav lights here that are blinking, and then a nav light on each side that is blinking, as you can see there. Then, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there is a light source that's lighting up that window. That's the only one I've unmasked, and I'm probably going to have to remask it, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But it has really nice light when you turn it down. So it's got a nice light coming through there that you can see, including some wires, unfortunately, but that's just going to be the way it goes. Now, the reason I might have to mask that again is because you can see that there's a massive light bleed, and that's because I couldn't do the interior with black on the inside of this, and it's only got a couple coats of coat of primer, one coat of stainless steel, and then a coat of matte. So I think what I'm going to have to do, and it looks like it's just along that side, like maybe the paint got really thin at that area, maybe a couple spots here, especially up in there, where that light is coming through. I think I'm going to go spray another coat of stainless steel on this. And it looks like I need to do so anyways because of what's going on next to the ladders and so forth. But on the inside of this, I'll go ahead and flip this over. Of course, you see all the lights there, and then these are the wires that feed those 6 SMDs. And then I've got this little piece of styrene, which is really quite paper thin, but just cut that out to look like the boat. And then we've got 2 strips of cob lighting that are going the length of the boat. Also in there is our Flytron.com, the Flytron.com strobe, and I'm just going to leave this with its blinking pattern. You could change it out to other ones, but I'm just going to leave it with that blinking pattern and not worry about it from there. And that's it from that perspective. So you know, this basically fits over here, and then that fits over there, and then we're off and running. Then I've got through the hull one hole down here to feed the wires, and now I'm going to detach those because we'll talk about what's inside here. So the way that I'm working this out is I've put, let's push this through, the wire's a little thick. I have put again that 800 or 1800 milliamp lithium-ion battery here. I've got my switch, and we've seen that. Let's turn that off. So the switch is just out to the hot and in, and then coming off of our charge port. The charge port fits a USB-C port just like so, and I can charge that and then unplug it and let that go. And it's just hot glued in. That's hot glued in, and we're glued down with some of these other things. I probably ought to hot glue that or trap it or something. But that is pretty rudimentary as far as lighting and wiring goes. Just solved my problem right there. And so I can seal that up, and then I just used like standoffs here to put this in here, and we are good to go there. Now, so the next step is to glue these 4 or 6 standoffs down, get back to my wiring here, put that through, and then build the rocks and water diorama. Water diorama. Sorry, doing 4 things here, 3 things here. So I went out and just collected some very cool stones and rocks that I would think would look kind of cool here based on a shoreline, and then this will fit hopefully something like that. That's probably too close. Maybe put one of these here with a couple like that. I'm just not sure yet. We'll have to work through it. And then I'm just going to use the same process I used for the same program that I used for the Victory Hawk, where it's paint this a base color, this styrene a base color, and then toilet paper layers with Elmer's glue, and let those dry, let those layers dry. And once those are done, then go back in and paint across the top. And then once the painting's done, come back in with my acrylic pouring medium, super gloss, and coat the whole thing. And then just set the rocks in place as we go. So I'm very excited about progress on this. I am disappointed that I think I've got to repaint that hull, which is fine. That's no worries. We can do that. But I was hoping for a little better outcome than that, but we'll get back to that. Let me tape that off, respray this with another coat of stainless steel, and then when we come back we can add the final, there's a couple of pieces, like a couple of antennas that go there, things are on the back and so forth. But as a program, this is really starting to come together nicely, and it'll basically sit like this on the shelf. And I think that'll look really pretty cool for something that's kind of new. All right, I'll be back after we're making progress. See you in a minute. All right, progress on the Tokyo Water Bus. And we've got our base in pretty good condition here now for the water for the painting. This has got about 4 or 5 layers of washable school glue, basically Elmer's glue, and then just toilet paper. So essentially I would put like maybe 50-50 water to glue, and then just do one layer of toilet paper, put it down, and then let it dry, and then another layer, and we've got this really kind of rough surface. But we're not done yet. So my intent is to paint now the color of the ocean, and I've got field blue, I've got light blue, I've got light sea gray, and then white. And I think this is probably what, medium blue. So we're going to just do a whole series. I'm trying to keep it blue rather than green. I did green on the Victory Hawk, but I'd rather have a bluish, harbor color on this. And then once we're there, then we can go ahead and put in once we're there, then we can go ahead and lay in the ship, which is going to fit in something like that, hopefully. So, so again, the next challenge, of course, get this painted to look like an ocean. After we're done there, then we're going to go to the gloss varnish. So I'll be back with you in a minute. Thanks. Okay, still moving forward with the paint on the oceanscape, or waterscape, however you want to say it. I've added more blues. So again, we just went through the medium blue, and I realized I had one of these sea blues, which is going to be pretty close to that field blue. So, but it's got a different hue, and boy, this is nice. This is really really dark. I like it. So we're going to go over some of the areas and try to just freehand this. And again, I have a degree in theology, so all I'm doing is praying that this comes out nice, not a degree in fine arts by any any help, I guess, at this point. Man, that looks great though. Just blending between the two and giving it just depth, and not only depth, but just the look of just a roiling kind of sea. Now I know that all the photos that I've seen, really it's pretty placid waters that these go through, but I like the sea itself, so we're gonna just continue along this path here. So yeah, I'm really liking the way that that's turning out. So let's get a little more over here. Maybe a touch. Now, what I really think is going to be cool is dry brushing the white on this to show, like, I don't know, white caps or whatever you want to call them. But I think that's going to be really just dynamite when it comes to that. So that is sea blue. Now, I think I do have a deep sea gray somewhere, and I might add some of that. And again, this is all just kind of freestyling. What color is this? Oh, that's RLM gray. Although that's dark green enough, I think I'm going to add some of that now. I think this is what I painted the USS Defiant in for my very first go-around. Not the lighted one, but just... oh yeah. I think that's dark enough that it's... I don't want to get too crazy here, but just kind of filling in the... Just kind of, I don't know, filling in some of the gaps here and then spreading it out a little further. I don't want to overdo this deep sea gray, but I might get some lighter colors. Yeah, I'll get back to the blues, but this should add some depth to some of those areas. Let's go in here. Yeah, I certainly think that once we highlight this with some white dry brushing, that this is gonna really turn out looking like a seascape here. Hopefully, that's kind of the goal. And if it doesn't, we did our best. A little more over here. And again, this is RLM gray in here. And then let's go to the light sea gray. And I think what I want to do is do that light blue over the top of a lot of this once we're there. This is probably not going to be much different, but it is different. And right now, this is to my eye, it's too much gray. So we'll just do a little more here in a few different spots. But I'm not super happy with that. We'll get the blue going again here in a second, so I'm not going to overdo that. I want to get back to some medium blues, and even the field blue again, I think, is going to be a little helpful. Because right now it's certainly looking splotchy. Certainly looking very splotchy at this point, but I think what we can do is just kind of lightly go over some of this with the blues and bring that blue back, because that's really what I'm trying to get after, and even go back to the deep, even go back to the sea blue. That might be something to look at. I'm really liking this over here where we've got those mediums, and yeah. We've already got our rocks glued down. We just embedded those into the toilet paper, and that seems to have done a pretty decent job with keeping that keeping those rocks stationary. I've not had any problem with them breaking loose. Yeah, I don't like the grays on that, so we'll definitely go over that with maybe the medium blue here in a minute. But just, you know, that quick we can have a different look on some of this. Let's go here. Starting to feel like Ed Cranston, I think that's his name, Bryan Cranston, in the show Malcolm in the Middle, where he gets an artistic bent to him and he goes after a giant painting in the garage, and the thing is gigantic. It's, you know, probably 10-12 feet high and 10 or 12 feet wide, and he's just throwing 5 gallons of paint at the thing over and over and over again, and it's perfect. And then the family comes in and they're all amazed at how awesome it looks, right? And then it falls over and it's done, you know, totally ruined. So it was one moment of sublime appreciation, and then back to it. So let's go something like that. So anyway, all right, I'm going to keep painting on this, but I'm going to let this dry for a little bit, then we'll come back with probably definitely the light blue and definitely some more of the sea blue and the medium blue. So we'll go after this, but kind of liking where we're at. A little bit too much green, but I think these other light blues will bring it up, and we'll go after it. And I'll be back with you. Thanks. All right, making progress on the Tokyo Motor Bus from Fujima. Not quite sure how to say it, but all of the little pylons are in throughout. They are tiny pieces there. Watch out for the pings. They can get away from you in a hurry. I reversed, I don't know what's going on there. Oh yeah, it's all right. I reversed these so that the short one's in the front and the tall one's in the back. But you could do 2 short ones, 2 tall ones, or whatever your orientation is there. It comes with extra pieces to do so. Here is the 2 separate pieces. This is the short one, this is the tall one, so I think we're good there. Just glued this down, and the last step now is to break out the water, no pun intended, and do these water slide decals. There's only a couple of them. So there's Himiko on the fronts, and then a couple of these logos, red logos that go on each side. Since there's 4 of them, I'm going to put there in, and then 4 sets of dots, or actually these are hearts, and they go next to on each side of these doors. Then we have the pleasure of taking off all of the masks that we put on. They've been on there since day one, and then maybe a little touch-up paint. But for the most part, we're getting close to calling this done. And then when I return, we'll have the decals on. It's a little better. When I return, we'll have the decals on, and we will be demasking. But the demasking is pretty straightforward. In essence, basically, just grab your tweezer and you're good to go. Now the nice thing is there isn't paint underneath there, just the glass. I just glued this down, so I'm going to let that kind of settle in and do its thing. And then I don't know if I need to put some more toilet paper around. I don't think so. But that paper mache, toilet paper, water, and Elmer's glue, and then paint, and then the this has simply 1 coat of the new Formula Gloss varnish. I don't even know if this has got a name brand on it. This I found at Hobby Lobby. I think it was about $8, $9, but from a gloss varnish, it's white and dries clear, so it's almost like a glue anyway. But for the most part, very pleased with where we're at. And then when we come back, we'll have this revealed, and then we'll do some beauty shots. All right, I'll be back with you in a bit. Thanks. Hey, okay, welcome to the reveal of the Tokyo Water Bus, the Himiko. And this is just some quick passes of the completed model. I don't think the model is anything particularly special from my execution of it, but I do really take a lot of pride in the waterscape. I think that turned out just kind of the way I envisioned it, which is rare for me. That gloss paint, that gloss finish really does a nice job. That gloss type top coat, again, that's from Hobby Lobby. You can find it in their artist section, not necessarily in the modeling section. The silver on this, AK Models stainless steel. That's 2 coats, and we still didn't get it done as far as light bleed. I would paint this with a super black first, and then go to your colors at that point. I do like the way the rocks turned out. I did paint like some white highlights on the rocks to show like the surf breaking against the stone there. Just trying to simulate that we had a rock landscape on part of the riverscape, if you will, or oceanscape. The silver turned out really nice, or stainless steel rather. That white on the tanks and the back railing, all of that just turned out really nice. I'm very pleased with it. We're going to go to the lights on here in a second, but you can see right there's the USB USB-C input for charging that battery, so that can remain sealed, and just plug a USB-C to it, and you're off and charged up. Again, here's from the rear, and one more time, the shape of this ship, done by these cartoon or animated artists, just really, they did a knockout job. I would love to take a trip to Japan just to ride this boat. I think it would be an amazing experience. If you look at the videos online, they're absolutely gorgeous. They're very pretty. The interiors are amazing, and you get some amazing sights. So we've turned the lights down here, and now we're running past this with finally the green glass lit up. And if you remember when I first pulled this out, it was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. This is not what I was looking for. However, once I see it with the lights on and against that silver or stainless steel hull, along that carbon hull and the stainless steel deck rather, I rather like it. I think it would look just about like this going down the harbor front in an evening cruise or dinner cruise kind of thing, and I think that would just be really a cool thing to see. Very pleased with the way the lights turned out. You've got your two headlights in the front, you've got your blinking port and starboard lights. Again, just using the Flytron.com, using their little SE chip. Like I said, it's about a $5 chip, but it really works great for the timing on that. You don't have to do any programming, just wire the power in, LED out, and you're off and running. And I've wired up to like 6 LEDs on these mini SMDs to make that happen. I really like the way that the green light is flashing off of that high gloss on the waterscape, if you will, and also the pearlescent paint on that bathroom tray. And that's really all it is. Just a bathroom tray. We put down our styrene sheet, and then basically toilet papered over that, and then painted it up. The final paint, what I did, you saw how splotchy it was, but what I did finally is just went over it with a wash, like a dark blue wash, and it brought out all the colors just like I wanted it. You can see that kind of shimmering when those green lights fire up, so I'm pretty excited about how that turned out. All in all, a great kit. Lots of fun. Highly recommend it. Find it online. Find it at a hobby shop, and just enjoy building it. The masking, the taping. It's a little tedious, but it's really quite rudimentary. So we're going to move here real quick to the temple, the Shinto Temple. This was painted with brick red, slate gray, and white. And then I used a chrome, real fine chrome pen, like a Maltov pen, to do all of your tiny uprights there, and I think it turned out fantastic in my opinion for something that's so tiny and something complex. But the detail in this is absolutely superb, and if you look at here, like, you know, just the steps and the railings, they just really turned out nice. All this was kind of hand painted, and then here's the bells that I painted up, and you know, I'm very happy with that. So with that, we'll go to the final comments, and we'll go from there. Thanks. All right, hey, back with you, finishing up the Tokyo Motor Bus. This was a lot of fun. It was a bit of a challenge as we've gone through during the reveal, but I would do it again. I would do it again, and I would actually, you can order a set of engine bells for the 1/48 scale Space 1999 Eagle, and or I'm sure you could find engine bells in resin, something like that, but you could take that model because it's got such a cool shape, and I understand it was actually designed by some manga artists, the Japanese comic book guys. So sorry if I don't have the correct pronunciation of that, but that's who designed that boat, that Himiko, and its sister and her sister ships. So definitely a very cool rendition of a boat, right? It's designed for tourism, but you could turn that into an absolutely fantastic, into a fantastic spaceship, scratch-built spaceship. Throw some rockets on the back of that and some thrusters and light it, and off you go. So anyways, this was a fun build.
The little shrine temple, very challenging to put that together, and you've heard what that took to do, but still a lot of fun and kind of a unique thing that I've never done before, and I didn't want to go all out on a base on that. And the water was really fantastic to try my hand at that again, and I like the way that turned out. So again, this has been the Sloppy Modeler. We're glad to have you along for this. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying to the end if you did. There's no surprise ending, but just we're going to go on to the next. But if you did like what you see, hit that like, subscribe, bell notification. You know the drill. Trying to grow the channel. We're over 800 subscribers now, trying to get to 1,000. Let's go 1,000, so that would be awesome. And until we talk to you again, rock and run. All right, so one final thing, I guess we'll do the sneak peek of what is coming next. And it's the Bandai Millennium Falcon Rise of Skywalker edition, and we're going to try to do something very cool with it. I'll probably fail miserably, but that is going to be the next build that we come up against. So until we talk to you soon, enjoy yourself, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you again. Bye.